On this week's show, we kick off the new year by celebrating this season of giving. We'll share stories of how current and former Flames are giving back.
From tight end Jacob Jenkins growing up on the mission field to Liberty's athletic shepherds making a difference right here on the mountain. You're watching Flame Central.
Practice that a lot. 2025 is here. It may be a new year, but you're still getting the same great coverage of Liberty athletics, whether you like it or not. Welcome to Flame Central. I'm Matt. She's Emily.
We hope you had a great, safe holiday. You know, this time of year, whether it's your time or your talent, it's important to focus on giving back. After all, Matt, it is the season of giving.
That is true. And today's show will focus on giving in many different forms. We begin with some students right here at Liberty. They give of themselves to help Flames athletes. These students are called athletic shepherds, and as you're about to see, their work goes far beyond the playing field.
The mission for our athletic shepherd, I boil it down to this. We want to do two things. We want to help with spiritual formation. We want to walk alongside of our athletes no matter where they are, whether they're spiritually mature, whether they don't know Jesus at all. We want to come alongside them spiritually and help them to find out who Jesus is. And so, because no matter what happens, no matter where you are in your relationship with Jesus, life is going to happen. And so we want to be there to care for their soul as well. I'm blessed to be able to interview and hire grad students to serve as athletic shepherds for all of our NCAA sports. From there, I get the opportunity to meet with them every week. We call it our huddle time. We spend time in the Word together. We spend time praying for all of our NCAA athletes by name, and then they go out and do the day-to-day with our student athletes showing up at practices.
It's so unique and such a special program, and the way they were able to help us and just pour into us and share so much wisdom and so much just truth to us, it impacted me more than I could even express.
I think it's a very special position. It's like no other. And Lord has blessed me and all the other shepherds as well to be a part of different programs, NCAA, that allowed us to be a part of the team, be a part of the staff, and do life with them. And I think in that, I try not to take it for granted.
Of course, there are several responsibilities to be an athletic shepherd, but it boils down to one thing we focus on, and that's the ministry of presence.
Ministry of presence. That is I think the main thing is like consistency and showing face. I think the more you show up, the more you're consistent and being present with the guys. And I think people on the outside, they see that and they're able to see, that this person cares about us.
I've always encouraged them from day one is to be a presence who has spent time in God's presence. The impact of the athletic shepherd ministry has been scripture exceedingly abundantly above all that I can ask or imagine. The relationships that they're able to build, the trust, again, that's been built in those relationships, has been amazing.
You may not even see the impact that you have on the guys. You may share something, and did it connect with them? It may not have. And I think in that, that's where we have to remind ourselves the bigger picture. Like, we're here to serve the Lord, and the Lord does the healing, He does the transformation, and we're called to stand here and be used as a vessel.
I think it's hard in athletics when you spend hours and hours every single day for your sport not to become your identity. And so the shepherds being there and being able to pour into us and sharing the truth with us, and constantly telling us we do this sport for something so much bigger than ourselves. It completely changed my outlook on my sport and just my outlook on athletics in general.
My hope is and that many of our student athletes who don't know Christ will come to Christ, because that's the ultimate thing. Here we're trying to train champions for Christ, and you have to know Christ first in order to be trained in Him and be discipled. And so that's the ultimate goal.
You know, the athletic shepherds are just another way that Liberty supports the whole person in Liberty Athletics, right? You got your, obviously what you're doing in your sport. Your academics are important. They help them with mental health and all of that. But then most importantly, their spiritual walk. They pour into their athletes to make sure they're in a good place there and that they continue to grow closer to God during their time here as a Flame.
Yeah, Matt, and it's just more proof that Liberty is a special place. Yeah. These student athletes can graduate and go wherever they want, but they want to stay right here on the mountain, like you said, pour into some of these younger student athletes.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, there are many ways to be a servant of God. For Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins and his family, that was on the mission field in the Dominican Republic. It was a unique upbringing for Jacob, but those years have given him a great perspective in life, which he's brought right here to the mountain.
For Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins, his journey to the Division I football field came by way of the mission field.
We grew up in the church. My dad was a youth pastor. So in 2008, we started going to the Dominican, visiting and conversations of what's the Lord want to do with this.
Jacob was just 6 years old. His siblings were 8 and 4. But despite the challenges of heading to the mission field with young children, the Jenkins family would answer God's call.
They told us that we're going to make this change and we're going to move.
It wasn't on our hearts until God brought it to us. And to see our kids eventually get the vision and be called to ministry themselves, we didn't expect our kids to be called. You know, we thought they would follow us because we went. And he really ended up calling them and showing them, hey, this is ministry.
My parents did a good job of this is missions, and they explained what we were doing, and it was trying to lead people back to Jesus Christ and what he did.
The Jenkins ministry, called Until They Know, focuses on sharing the gospel of Christ while also helping to build sustainable communities in the Dominican. And young Jacob was all in.
I remember I would always wake up early in the morning and knock out all my homeschool. My mom would wake up and I'd give her my homework. This is what I've done for the day. I did it all and done. Just so I could get on the bus with the teams that were in town and to go out with my dad and just go out in the mission field, and whether that was VBS and us singing to the kids or just running around and playing sports with the kids or hanging around the doctors when they did a doctor trip, stuff like that.
It was just different down there. They saw a different side of the world that they didn't know existed.
A different environment, but one where Jacob would see God at work.
As a kid, I go into this church, no AC, barely any lights, but there's people in tears, there's people singing praise, everyone is full of joy and peace. God's joy and peace really transcends everything. There's no boundaries to it. It doesn't come with money, it doesn't come with a home, it doesn't come with anything. But every time I walked into church, it was the same thing. I got to see the same smiles, the same tears, the same joy, and just passion for the Lord. And as a little kid, it sticks.
Jacob's passion for missions continued to grow, but at the same time, so did his passion for a sport that wasn't exactly prominent on the island.
One year they really wanted football equipment. I'm like, they don't have that in the Dominican, what are we gonna do? So it was cheaper. We found to play it again sports, and I flew a round trip to Orlando to pick it up, and it was cheaper than trying to get anything shipped in.
We were playing football there. Just me and my brother would do board drills and bull in the ring together every day. It was insane.
He had them out in the backyard hitting, and it was a fun sight.
Fundamentals, baby.
Yeah.
After 4 years on the mission field, the Jenkins family would return to live in the States. Brad still runs the ministry, leading frequent trips back to the DR, while Jacob has remained involved. But he's also been excelling on the football field.
Left side, pass caught by Jenkins, a tight end to the 40, 45, 50. Jacob Jenkins barreling into UTEP territory.
And no matter how much time has passed, those years in the Dominican have left an imprint and have forever changed the way Jacob sees the world.
It taught me at a young age how to be grateful for what I have and that the Lord will always provide. There's so many times in missions that you see God just step up.
When you step out in faith and you see God supply and you see God do cool things and use you in the midst of his kingdom building, there's a chance to really see that impact life forever and to live in that kind of way always.
I want to be the helping hand, just like we are in Dominican here in everyday life. I want to open the door, I want to give the smile, I want to do all that so that God is shown through me just like he is there right here.
We have to take a quick time out, but when we come back, we'll share the story on how the original voice of the Flames, Jerry Edwards, has made an impact on and off the air.
Plus, how former offensive lineman Roy Jones is helping others to fundraise for nonprofits. That's all when Flames Central returns.
So you're looking for a university that's perfect for you, a school that has anything you could possibly need.
Anything?
You want a place that has the programs you want to study, and maybe a few more, just in case you change your mind.
I think I'm going to sign up for the fashion design program.
All right. A place with state-of-the-art facilities. I mean, look at this campus.
And who doesn't love big-time sports?
And great recreational activities.
Okay, now we're on a roll. Somewhere you can hike, slide, strike, shoot, climb, eat, and most importantly, eat. You want a place that takes you to space? Okay, maybe not, but we can teach you how to fly, or pastor a church, or run a business. And all that with a great view? Yeah, I think I know a place.
So our daughter Bella did LUOA and she absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and all our kids, it was a little bit different how they did school because when they were in school, Duck Dynasty was going on.
For Bella, it worked out for us to just kind of go all the way homeschool, which that flexibility of being able to do school online and travel with us when she wanted to travel was just a really great blessing. And that's a great thing that LUOA offers is you can kind of move at your own pace, move faster if you need to.
So yeah, that certainly matched up for her.
Flexibility was
for sure
a key. So to be able to have LUOA to like guide her and have actual real life teachers and a whole framework set up was really, really helpful. I would say doing the online academy really prepared Bella for college. It actually, is a lot of hard work, but the teachers are so great at helping you through it, helping you kind of through that learning curve. And I definitely feel like it really prepared her for what was to come for a college career.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Today's stories are all focused on giving. And for decades, Jerry Edwards has given his talents to Liberty University. He's best known as the original voice of Flames athletics. But even today, although he's no longer on the mic, he can still be found using his gifts to help build champions for Christ.
And the batter's up. Eyes the pitcher. Takes a couple of swings.
I used to sit on the steps and listen to the Cleveland Indians game.
Hit. It's a hit. Out to left field. This one's way out there and gone.
Those early memories by the radio inspired Jerry Edwards to pursue sports broadcasting in his home state of Ohio. But then the Lord would get a hold of his life and led him to enroll in the Liberty Bible Institute in 1979. Jerry assumed his days behind the mic were a thing of the past.
One of my thoughts was that doing this, I'll never broadcast another game.
But at the tail end of the 1981 Liberty football season, God would unexpectedly open that door again.
Frank Cappiello was our play-by-play guy, and he was going to miss 3 games. And so I had to find somebody to take Frank's place. Then somebody told me that there was a guy that worked for Harold Wilmington in the Bible Institute. that had done a lot of high school broadcasts in Ohio. And Jerry and I met and talked, and Jerry agreed to do the 3 games that Frank was going to miss.
Those 3 games would turn into 30 years, and Jerry became known as the voice of the Flames.
Beecher rolls right, stands up, throws, it's caught. The catch made by Brown down the right sideline, touchdown.
He just comes across as so personable. He had the ability to connect with people through his voice. I mean, they weren't in the room with him, but they felt like they were in the room.
Mantlo has the ball out front, drives by his man, dumps it left corner to Sarchett, out to Blair for 3, yes.
Among many memorable moments for Jerry, one stands above the rest. The date was March 18th, 1994.
And that was the day we stepped onto the court, the NC2A tournament, and that's North Carolina, the #1 team in the country at the time. They had a coach that was very familiar, and he's going to play against us. And we played them very well till the last maybe 8 or 10 minutes when we ran out of gas and they still had reserves.
But Jerry's contribution as the voice of the Flames went far beyond just the games themselves.
We want to be here when you need us.
Thousands of Central Virginians began their day listening to him as he hosted the morning show on the campus radio station. No matter how late he had gotten home from the previous night's road game, he was a mainstay at the mic until his retirement in 2014. A retirement that was short-lived.
3 days later, they hired me back part-time, and they said it was mainly because of my skill set. And I said, well, that's great. What is my skill set? And they said, you're old. And you actually knew Jerry Falwell and worked with him and for him.
Today, Jerry works as a tour guide in the Jerry Falwell Museum.
What you're looking at here is Treasure Island. It's in the middle of the James River, downtown Lynchburg. I get to tell the stories of how this place came about. And since I was here for much of that, I can do it and tell stories about Dr. Falwell in the first person.
Jerry was honored in 2011 when he was inducted into the Liberty Athletics Hall of Fame. But he'll tell you that his greatest honor has come from his listeners.
Had a man after church on a Wednesday night, and he said who he was, and he said, I can't see. He said, I've been blind for years. He reached out and grabbed my hand. He said, because of you, I've been able to see every game Liberty's played this year. And I've never forgotten that. I realized that those people can't see what I see. It's my job to make sure they see it.
Jennings gets a handoff, starts inside, bounces outside, he's in the end zone.
It's been a great privilege to be the voice of the Flames.
Matt, I'm not going to lie, I got a little choked up at the end there where Jerry was explaining the blind man who hasn't been able to see in years, but he's been able to see every Liberty game played because of Jerry and the way he calls those games.
Yeah, great broadcaster, even better person. Like, it's no stretch to say he's a Liberty legend, right? Yeah. But he is the most humble guy you'll ever meet. He just feels like, hey, God gave me this gift. I'm happy to use it, and truly one of the great ambassadors for this university and the way he lived his life on the air and now off the air as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jerry Edwards was calling football games that Roy Jones played in back in the day, which is who our next feature is on. The former Liberty offensive lineman tells us the impact Liberty made on his life and his subsequent career. His is a story about giving himself and helping others do the same.
It really took me to a place where I saw really the purpose of being on this planet was to help others. And it really was the thing that drove me, and I think it really had a profound impact on me in the last 40, 50 years.
Like countless others, the mountain would be a life-changing experience for former Liberty offensive lineman Roy Jones, who played for the Flames from 1977 to 1981.
We really were the pioneers, and we were people that heard the vision. You know, I remember being in Dr. Falwell's truck and him driving me up to the mark before it was a mark, and looking out on the campus and saying, hey, the field's going to be there, and this dorm's going to be there, and this is going to be here. And literally, before it was there, we saw it. People ask me today, can you believe the campus? I do. We saw it 40 years ago.
However, during Roy's playing days, the football facilities looked a little different.
When I got there, they took me to this place called Treasure Island. There is a little bit of shock value, you know, in 1977, showing up on this rickety bridge where we literally made our bunk beds with hammer and nails and painted the dorms. I mean, it was Mr. Miyagi training. It was a special place.
But just like the conditions of Treasure Island, Roy's early college experience would have its rough spots as well.
I was in trouble all the time. They thought it was best I go to school somewhere else. And the first time I met Jerry Falwell was on a review board to get back in school. But we connected. He knew that I kind of just one of those kids that did not have a good grounding in the Word. And so he gave me a second chance.
And Roy would take full advantage of it, not only graduating from Liberty, but Dr. Falwell would offer Roy an opportunity to work with him in Washington, D.C., giving Roy a front row seat about the field of fundraising.
I had no idea at the time that God was training me for my life's work. Then 10 years ago, somebody called Liberty and said, we're trying to set up a foundation, who do we call? And our friends at Liberty gave them my name. So.
More than 30 years later, Roy has raised millions of dollars for charities and nonprofits. Through his own agency, Fit Fundraising, he's helped people all over the world. He's also found a passion for training, teaching others the same lessons he learned from Dr. Falwell years ago.
It's so rewarding to know that that little bit of information, that an example that Dr. Falwell gave me, that I passed it on to others, and now there's people that have never heard the name Jerry Falwell that are teaching others. And it's that kind of thing, knowing that's going to long outlive anything I do.
In the fall of 2023, Roy Jones would return to the mountain with his family, experiencing a full circle moment at a place that poured so much into him, and getting the opportunity to give back with his own charitable donation. Such a great story. We have to step aside one more time, but when we come back, we'll see how men's soccer is making an impact on the pitch with the Aspire Group.
You don't want to miss it. The giving continues after the break.
Welcome to Liberty University's online programs, where living out your calling with integrity is what you train to do. And getting ready for the future doesn't mean missing out on the now. Because a university is more than buildings and books. And an education should set you free, not fence you in. Welcome to Liberty's global campus, where distance learning was pioneered and evolved into one of the top-ranked schools in the nation. Where protecting your budget, your time, and your education isn't just a theory, it's our priority. Here, degrees in your field reflect industry demands and help you get ahead of the competition. Where college comes to you, but you can come to college too. Game day, homecoming, graduation day. Your school, your values, your experience, your choice. Welcome to Liberty University, where we train champions for Christ.
Welcome back to Flame Central. On this episode, we've shared the many ways that Liberty current and former student athletes have given back, and that's no different in our next feature.
Yeah, earlier this season, the Aspire group joined a Liberty men's soccer practice. It was a good reminder of the platform that this game provides and how it can be used to uplift others.
The Aspire Group is a program that Campbell County Public Schools initiated last year. This just gives them an additional opportunity to learn more about their community. They love sports. They love to get out and be a part of things. They've been very excited, and all morning long on their emails, when they email me, they're asking, what are we doing today? What are we going to see today? Who are we going to talk to today? So they're very excited.
It's important to be grateful for what you have, and I think when you're grateful for what you have, then you should share that and serve. And I think it's a great life lesson as well. Our goal is to try and create men for others. So any time and any chance we get to give back, we're trying to do it.
1 clap, 2 clap, half clap.
As much as we love soccer, we remember that we use it as a tool to help other people. So when we get a chance to do this, like, it's just incredible, and it's all for God. So to show the love of Jesus through that is so cool.
You kind of come to an event like this, or you meet kids like this, and you kind of see, there's just more to life than soccer, and just kind of the joy they have in their faces kind of refocuses your perspective.
During the season, like, it's all 110% go, go, go. Everyone wants to play as much minutes as they can, and then when we do things like this, it just reminds you that, okay, like, my identity isn't in how many minutes I play, it's in how can I help the person around me, or how can I help these people have the best day of their lives today.
Love that story, and love seeing how Liberty Athletics have come alongside the Aspire group. Like multiple different teams working with these kids, doing skill sessions and clinics, and even Liberty athletes going and working with the Aspire group at their local coffee shop. It's been such a cool relationship that's grown.
And it's genuine. Think about how busy a student athlete's schedule is. The fact that they take the time out of these events and actually enjoy doing it is really cool to see.
Speaking of time, we're about out of it. LibertyFlameCentral.com for any stories that you might have missed.
New year, same great podcast.
Right.
Check it out. For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week.